Chapter 8: Flesh versus Spirit. Wanyanyekova felt an intense joy inside, looking up toward heaven. Truly, Jeremiah, this feels like fire shut up in my bones. Letzi appeared before Wanyanyekovu. In the morning, make your way to Sondheimer, for this will be your last stop before you arrive in Tallulah, he said. It is so. By nightfall, Wanyanyekovu had finally laid down, but his mind was still racing. Once asleep, he saw himself in the clouds again. As he descended toward earth, he saw a huge gathering, and in the center, there appeared an elderly man marching in front of a military-style formation. He heard someone shout out a command, and the formation marched in place, while the elderly man broke formation and marched up a few steps and stood in front of a podium. There were 11 men and women, and behind each of them, there were 20 people. Behind the 20, there were 200, and behind the 200, there were thousands. All marching in a unified formation. Another command was shouted, and he heard a great crowd cheering as the man stopped and 3 women broke away from the formation and walked onto the stage. The elderly man looked at the people behind him on stage. As he stood in front of a group of thousands of young men and women, a tear rolled from his eyes, the crowd shouting, "Sabaoth is mighty!" The crowd stood up and cheered again. Please, please, sit down, for we are all mighty warriors of Sabaoth. We're here today because Sabaoth has called us together to do his work. We are many clans, but today we are finally one people with one heart and on one accord. He paused. Let us follow our hearts this day, rejoice, for Sabaoth has brought us out of the darkness we once were in. Yes, and united us to fight for freedom, not freedom of this world but the one to come, and that with great power. The crowd roared. Never did we know that something was hidden in us all these centuries, in our DNA, not seen, but felt within us. It can't be touched, but with it, we can move mountains. He then took out his hand and reached toward the sky, turning his hand into a fire. Wanyanyekovu woke up, and Yael was standing over him with the same blank face as usual, and Wanyanyekovu said to him, I keep having these dreams, what do they mean? Yael looked at him. I'm here to train you and protect you. Now, go, make your way to Sondheimer. Beware that there will be obstacles and battles along your way. Wanyanyekovu reached for his backpack and began gathering his things. When he turned to speak to Yael, he had already disappeared. Wanyanyekovu said to himself, I should have expected that from Yael. As he finished gathering his belongings, he headed south on Highway 65.